Hello, everybody. I am here to continue our conversation. We were just live streaming on the Near Mint Condition YouTube channel and talking about the Marvel Epic Collection announcements from February to April. And I'm here to talk about them some more. I do these after parties on a regular basis just to keep the conversation going because sometimes we want to get into the more nitty gritty stuff. And those of you who don't have to, you know, go to work or whatever can just be here with me as we're going to talk about this some more. So let's see. We have a bunch of people here in the chat already. We have Uncle Johnny. The first epic was released on September 18th, 2013. Are you going to do a live stream on the 10th anniversary? Great question. I would love to do something on that day. Yeah, I think we probably will. I'm trying to organize something special, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Um, Can't stay on the way to movies. Shocked, I guessed 2 out of the 3. I'm not sure whose Facebook user that is. They didn't give permission to use their name, but hello to Warren. Hello to Kenneth. And hello to Taylor. Be careful with the hashtags you use for this video. Hello to James. Hello to Phil. Hello to Reed. We're all here. Hello to D. Nickel. Hello to Georgie. Uncanny 85. It's great to see everybody here. I'm glad everyone was able to come on out here. Riker, the look on your face at the end of Omar Streamer's prices. Yeah, all of a sudden my face was like, whoa, on the big screen. I'm like, wait a second, something's not right here. That was really funny. 10th anniversary stream would be great fun. Yeah, I think we should probably do something and we can get everybody to talk about, their favorite epic collections, which volume is the best. Great selection of duck books in the background. You see that there? Yeah, I love the Carl Barks stuff. It's really great. Hi from Spain. That's great. Hello from Cleveland. That's not as great, but it's still pretty cool. Really thought Miles Morales was getting a modern epic. Yeah, not this time. I'm certain that that'll come at some point. You with such a popular character, especially with the movie. But yeah, it would have been nice for a tie-in with the movie, but I think Spider-Gwen is their tie-in for the Into the Spider-Verse movie. Phil's in for a 10th anniversary stream as well. Okay, that's coming up. We'll make sure that happens. What do you think we'll get first? A Byrne era FF, Miller era Daredevil, or Simonson era Thor? Wow, that's tough. I kind of think that we will get Byrne era FF maybe last because there are more volumes to work through there, possibly. Miller era Daredevil has to be coming up soon because there's very few issues or very few volumes of that, and same with Simonson's Thor. So we'll have to see. I'm not sure exactly. Hey, Howard the Duck made it home, Cleveland. That's very true. Of the long-running incomplete classic epic lines, is Cap now the closest to complete? Yes, that is true. He's only got 2 volumes left to go. Otherwise, let's see. There's still a huge chunk in Fantastic Four in the middle there. Hulk has 2 big gaps. Spider-Man's getting closer, but Thor's the next closest, I think. So Daredevil has volumes 8, 8 to 11, and what was the other one I just said? Avengers has volumes 11 to 15, plus the very end of the crossing. They haven't got those last few volumes left as well. And then Thor just has volume 10, and then the Simonson stuff from 13 to 15. So that's pretty close too. But yeah, pretty amazing that we are 10 years in and it's so close to getting the complete run of Captain America pre-Heroes Reborn. Okay, where did my cursor go? Here's something that everyone asks. I hope DC will someday do a line of books similar to the Marvel Epic line. Wouldn't that be amazing? Although then my budget would be like twice as much because I have to buy all those. And DC is something I'm just not familiar with. I've been a Marvel guy for my whole life and only read like the top most popular DC stories. So I'd love to dig into that history more. That'd be great. But yeah, my only my hesitancy there is that there's even more DC history than there is Marvel history because they started way further back. And I was buying those Golden Age and Silver Age trade paperbacks, the thick ones, when they were coming out. But they're hard to read if you're not a fan of Golden Age stuff. And even if you are a fan of Golden Age stuff, hard to read, just a bunch of them all in a row. Pretty dense. Um, I think that I would like to see them start with something in the 80s. I think that would be more my speed there. Superior Spider-Man modern epics. Personally speaking, I would really like them to not be branded as Superior Spider-Man modern epics. I would like it just to be Spider-Man modern epics, and the title is Superior Spider-Man because it's part of the ongoing series. I would like to file them together on my shelf there. And maybe I will, even if even if they don't do that. We'll get the Burn volume first, but Daredevil by Miller will be completed faster. Yeah, I think might be right there. Excited for the Hulk epic announcements. The epics have really gotten me into the J Jaws. You know what? That's exactly the same as me. I was not a Hulk fan, and I was not a Punisher fan before Epic Collections. But then, because I just never really read them, I had no interest in the characters, so I just stayed away. But reading those Epic Collections, like these are actually really, really great. Um, no Doctor Strange, no Iron Man. Well, Doctor Strange Volume 2 is coming out in February, or sorry, in January of 2024. So that's probably why we didn't get Doctor Strange in this announcement. They will save another volume later on in the year. Iron Man, when was our last Iron Man? Oh yeah, Iron Man in November of 2023. So yeah, we were due for an Iron Man. I think we should hopefully we'll get one of those soon. Okay, let's talk about all of these epic collections. I don't know why the Spider-Gwen slide is not showing up here, but we'll get to that. Ken, I'm with you. What did Ken say? I didn't see it. Anyway, whatever. Okay, let's quickly plow through these, just in case you missed the information before. Aliens Epic Collection, the original years, Volume 2, collecting a bunch of different mini-series. Aliens was treated like sort of an ongoing series of mini-series. Once one ended, they rebooted it, kind of like what Marvel did with Venom in the mid-90s as well. And so this collects the next batch. I loved the first volume of the Aliens Epic Collections a lot, so hopefully this one follows suit with that. Daredevil Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 2 Underboss. That's very cool. This is the Bendis, the Brian Michael Bendis era Daredevil, and collecting the Daredevil Ninja 1 through 3, which was not in the previous Daredevil Ultimate collections. Uh, so there's something special for you. Captain America Epic Collection Volume 21, Twilight's Last Gleaming. This is the very last Mark Gruenwald Captain America run, where he gets this really big, bulky armor that he has to wear. It's very, very 90s. But this is a gap filler for us. Let's see, this gets us one, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 Captain America volumes in a row. Now that we have this one here, 14 in a row from volume 9 all the way to volume 22. That is absolutely amazing. Love it. Everybody can do a huge read through of your Mark Gruenwald Captain America once this volume is out next year. Incredible Hulk Epic Collection Volume 15 Ground Zero, the beginning of Peter David's run. And this is Todd McFarlane's Hulk, where he made a name for himself. and this is great because we have most of the last half of the Peter David run. We're missing, I think, just one volume in the middle there, volume 23. But now we're starting from the beginning, stuff that has been reprinted numerous times, which is why I think they've been saving this stuff for later. But now it's coming, so that's great. Luke Cage Epic Collection Volume 2. Oh, hold on, I should be looking at the comments here. Um, oh, Ken wants DC Epics. That's what it was. Yeah, I even pointed it out. Um, let's see here. So glad you dug the Aliens comics. I love them. Some of my favorite horror comics. And Phil talks about Captain America saying so 90s it makes my eyes water. Cap New World Order comes out May 2024. That's why we're seeing three Captain America epics, even though it's not even the right Captain America. In fact, I was kind of expecting the Falcon era Captain America to be a modern era epic collection to tie into the movie, but I guess we aren't going to get that. Very interesting. I think the Captain America volume is the first time we've had a cover that wasn't from the main series, an Avengers cover. That's not completely true because we also have, well, the very first Spider-Man epic collection, Cosmic Adventures, used a cover from Spectacular Spider-Man, and we had X-Men Mutant Genesis used a cover from X Factor, and I believe there are others. So this isn't exactly unique, but it's it is not that common. Good to see the Power Man and Iron Fist saga get completed. Yeah, so in case you are wondering, the second volume of Luke Cage does complete the Luke Cage Epic Collection line, and this immediately runs into Power Man and Iron Fist Epic Collections. And you can see here, this one goes up to Power Man 47, whereas Power Man 48 and 49 are collected at the beginning of Luke Cage or the Power Man and Iron Fist Epic Collections. So there you go. Oh yeah, so the Amazing Spider-Man Hero Killers Epic Collection also uses a cover from New Warriors Annual. There you go. So that's all in February. So March, we're going to get the Star Wars Legends Epic Collection, the Rebellion Volume 6. And you know what? That means that there is one more Star Wars Legends Epic Collection to come out, and that is New Republic Volume 8, I believe. And after that, unless they decide to also stick in droids and Ewoks, that's it for Star Wars Legends Epic Collections. There's only one more after this. Can you believe that? That's pretty amazing. There's about 50 of these Star Wars Epic Collections now. Blood and Thunder uses a Silver Surfer cover. Yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, I just want to point this out here. Cool that Sergio Aragonis is in there. I absolutely agree because I am a big fan of Sergio. I think his drawings are funny. He's got such a great sense of humor. Love his stuff in Mad, love Gru, The Wanderer, and the fact that he's done a whole bunch of like he did a Marvel uh Sergio Aragonis maligns Marvel or something like that, and, and Sergio Aragonis destroys DC, and so this is his Star Wars one shot as well, and it's just funny Star Wars related jokes. So glad it's in there. It's great. Um, will we ever see Peter Porker epics? Who knows? I would love it. Who knows? That would be great. Okay, next up here is Daredevil Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 3 out. This is pretty amazing that we're getting two back to back. This is fantastic. I started reading the Bendis Daredevil stuff when it first came out, but that was right around the time that I stopped subscribing to all of these titles and kind of got out of superhero comics for a while. So I'm eager to get back into that and read these stories. I think this is going to be great. Gru epics, yes, please. That would be great. However, I know for a fact that Sergio does not like thick trade paperbacks. So I don't think that that'll happen until maybe after his death and somebody else does it. I need to read the Thrawn Star Wars epic. Yeah, I'm in the middle of that one right now, and it's got some pretty good stuff. Carnage Epic Collection Volume 3. Now, here's one that we can talk about because this one includes issues that go into the 2000s. There's Venom versus Carnage miniseries in 2004, the Toxin miniseries in 2005, and one issue from X-Men Spider-Man in 2008. This is still a classic era epic collection, and it's going into 2008, which seems kind of weird, but I think the main reason is because they needed to pad out their book, and Carnage doesn't have as many appearances in this era as you would think. So I think what we are seeing here is that each epic line is going to kind of choose its own path in as far as when the modern era is going to start. Okay, the Daredevil Born Again show is coming out next year too. Yeah, that's true. That's why we're getting so many Daredevil and um, so many Captain America because of those movies and shows. Michael says it's interesting to know Sergio might be blocking Gru reprints. Yeah, wonder why he's against the collections. I think from what I've heard is that he has a very I don't know that he's against thick collections, but he has a very specific idea in mind of how he wants Gru to be collected and reprinted, and and it's not in thick collections. So I don't know if eventually he'll change his mind or relent or whatever, but he has something very specific in mind, and so far there hasn't been a publisher that has been wanting to go in that direction. That's what I've heard from. I think it was on the live stream that Mark Evanier did at one point. Carnage uses the cover from Spider-Man: The Next Chapter, Volume 3. Yeah, that is one of the only trades, the Spider-Man trades that I'm missing. I never bought it when it came out. Super expensive now, but now I'm not even worried about buying it because I think we will get it in modern era epic collections soon enough, or maybe classic era. I'm not sure. Eric Larson was against thick hardcovers for a long time, but he eventually caved for Savage Dragon. Yeah, I think the thick getting the material out in as few volumes as possible is necessary for a lot of the lesser known or less popular titles. Not that Savage Dragon isn't popular, but it's not as popular as say Spider-Man. For the for better for worse books that I'm doing with the Library of American Comics, I wanted to do just 2 years at a time, but the publisher was like, you know what, we should do 3.5 years of the comic strip at a time because we want those books to be out in less than 10 volumes. Because it ran for 30 years, that comic strip. And so if we did only 2 years at a time, that would be 15 volumes, and they didn't want to do it for that many. So there you go. Okay, let's see here. Turn off that comment. Keep on going. Fantastic Four Epic Collection Volume 24, Atlantis Rising. This is my top pick out of all of the announcements from today because I'm a huge DeFalco fan, and I have these issues in singles, but I'm glad that this fills that gap in our collection here, and that means we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Fantastic Four volumes in a row. So we have the first 9 at the very beginning, and then we have the last 9. We're just missing that middle section now, including the Burn era. Guardians of the Galaxy Epic Collection Volume 2, Quest for the Shield. And I mentioned this in the stream that most of this is the Korvac saga. If you have the yesterday's Avengers trade paperback and the Jim Valentino Guardians of the Galaxy trade paperback, this will be all double dips for you. There's nothing new, but got to get it on your Epic Collection shelf. Okay, in April, I'll bring some of you on the live stream in just a second once we get through April here, and then you can. I want to talk to you about all of this. Who was the artist on the DeFalco FFs? That was Paul Ryan. He's a fantastic artist. He's passed away now, but he was really, really great way back when. Now that we ended the FF Modern release, do you think they'll start a new point with the Burn era? I um there's two possibilities there, Ryan. One is that yes, they'll continue their chronological releases through the I think they're kind of in the Doug I can't remember which era they're in now. Um approaching Doug Mensch at some point, but with the George Perez stuff. They'll continue to do those. They could start at Burn and then move, you know, chronologically through that way, or they'll jump to Heroes Reborn or Heroes Return and call that classic era and start doing those ones. That kind of that kind of makes me think that that's what they'll do because they're kind of still masterworking the Burn era stuff, and I think they'll want to give it a few years to get that out of the way first, so we can have some nice quality restorations. Not that the old restorations were bad, but it's nice to have the new stuff as well. Um, was Paul Ryan the artist on Squadron Supreme with Grunwald? I think that is correct. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's right. Paul Ryan also did stints on Avengers and a little bit on Iron Man as well. The first Byrne volume would collect a handful of orphaned issues that weren't in the Byrne omnibus because Byrne didn't do the first few there. Yeah, he was the artist for a while, and then there was a break before he just took over the book completely. And that's the same with Daredevil by Miller because Daredevil had Miller had kind of two runs on Daredevil, and there's that section in the middle that's not Miller that will be in the Epic collections, right? Fallen Sun wasn't in the Brubaker Omnis, right? Someone tell me about that because I have no idea. I feel like it kind of should have been since it's part of the Death of Captain America story, but someone let me know. Bob Hall was on Squadron Supreme. Oh, there you go. That's a good answer there. How many epics will it take to collect the entire Brubaker Cap run? I think I think it's just 3, maybe? Someone correct me if I'm wrong there too. Again, the modern era is something that just learning about now, but I'm pretty sure it can be done in 3 epic collections, unless they pack in a lot of extra Captain America stuff that was happening at the same time. It's definitely more than 2 because there's a volume before this with Winter Soldier, and then there's a volume after this because this is only part of the Death of Captain America story. Um, you think they're not starting the modern era with Heroes Reborn because those books were not liked by the general public when they originally came out? I don't think that's the reason. I think that um, especially when Heroes Return came back, it was still very much they were still doing comics very much in the style of how all of the rest of the comics were working in terms of storytelling and even art. It was still in line with the mid '90s. There's a there's definitely a thematic shift that happens when somebody like Brubaker or Bendis took over the book, and we went with artists that were not your standard comic book artists. They looked different, and the way that Bendis wrote was very different. You know, the whole writing for trade kind of concept. That whole thing started after the Heroes Return era. So I think that that's why they're starting the Heroes Return or the modern era with those kind of lines there. Okay, let's see here. Black Widow Modern Era Epic Collection Volume 3 Chaos. This is a new line for us, collecting all of this stuff, the Phil Noto era of Black Widow. The whole series, well, issues 1 through 20 are all collected right here. So that's kind of cool. And Avengers West Coast Epic Collection Volume 7, Ultron Unbound. We're very close to the very end of Avengers West Coast, so I'm guessing that next year we'll see the end of this. You say what writing for trade yuck, but I don't have a problem with it personally. I think that it's I think that if you pace it correctly, then it works really, really well. And this is the reality that we're in, is that it gives the artist a little bit more room to breathe with their artwork. You don't have to cram as many panels on the page, and there are lots of cases where I think it's great. Just like old comics, there are times when trying to cram a story into one single issue also doesn't work. So it just takes the right writers for it. I just bought that Black Widow run in skinny trades. Well, get rid of them quick. No, hang on to them for a year and then you can get rid of them a little while later. Part of the problem with the Four Heroes Reborn books is the crossover in issue 13. Maybe Marvel is trying to negotiate the rights to the Wildstorm characters in order to do a one-time printing. Maybe. I don't know. They might, but that would be nice. That would be nice if they did. I think it's a pretty inconsequential story though, so yeah. Depending on the writer, writing for trade depends on the writer and what story you want to tell. Not every writer and story fits writing for trade. Yeah, that's what I just said there. And also, not every writer is great at trying to cram one story into one issue as well. So it works both ways. Okay, this one here, Captain America, Volume 6, The Man Who Sold the United States. I would have thought that they'd pick a cover that had Falcon featured more heavily on the cover. I'm not sure how they're going to do that with the trade dress. I don't think they'll keep him up in the top corner there, but we'll see what happens there. I only say Falcon because of the movie coming out, but this is Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby gets the last, about 10 issues or so in this epic collection. He returns to Marvel, and then the next volume after this, volume 6, will have way more Kirby. Thunderbolts Epic Collection Volume 2, Wanted, Dead or Alive. This is the Hawkeye, beginning the Hawkeye era. It gets us into the very beginning of the first Thunderbolts, or Hawkeye and Thunderbolts trade paperback. Epic Collection for X-Men, Volume 23, Fatal Attractions. Collecting most of that series, only the X-Men related part of that series. It doesn't have X-Force or X-Factor or Excalibur. Here is Daredevil Epic Collection Volume 7. Oh, here's a great comment. Writing for trade sounds like the shift from weekly standalone TV storytelling to the Netflix Amazon model where everything is a miniseries, a long movie. Yeah, that kind of started with Star Trek Next Generation, right? With the whole thing with Picard turning into a Borg. That kind of had the shift of like, things each episode isn't standalone. There are the stuff that happens in this one has a dramatic effect on the next one and will continue the story going on. But yeah, you're right. The next Netflix Amazon model where everything is a mini series. I like that too. Again, it's not it's not for every show. Not every show can do that right. But it works. It works for some in some cases. Like my favorite show at the moment, Better Call Saul. Fantastic. I love that. It's so much. I'm glad that it's not standalone TV show episodes. I thought the Cap epic was going to be called Mad Bomb. I Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. Sorry, it's not. So excited for the X-Men one, hoping that we get to Age of Apocalypse by 2025. I do too, because there are a lot of orphaned issues that aren't in trade paperback yet in that era, just before Age of Apocalypse. But at the same time, I would really wish that they move a little faster through the Claremont stuff, just because that's been sitting for a while there. So does this mean for classic epics we only have DD epics with the Miller era left? I guess so. If the modern era does start with Marvel Knights, then literally Daredevil only needs the Miller era from volume 8 to volume 11. Wow. That's, I think, actually better than Captain America, because Captain America looks like it's probably going to, or definitely going to stretch into Heroes Return. So Daredevil is closer to completion than Captain America. That's a very good point. Making a gap on X-Men. I wonder why that is. It's not a gap. Shouldn't be a gap. Let me see. Volume 22 is Legacies, which just came out. So this is volume 23. It's not making a gap at all. It's coming right on the heels of the X-Men collection that was released last week or 2 weeks ago. And the last, and that's it. Oh yeah, and then there's the Spider-Gwen Modern Era Epic Collection. I don't know where that slide went, but it's collecting the next gap of Spider-Gwen issues. Okay, I'm going to put the link to this live stream in the chat, and if you would like to come and talk to me on this live stream, then you are more than welcome to. I think you wrote it down as 24 because I have it down as 24 in this last slide. That's probably what it is. That's my mistake there. I make mistakes all the time. Any other X titles this time? I'm afraid not. And you know what? Actually, let's see. I actually have the list for the next 3 months, and there are a few X titles there. So you'll just have to wait. I think Omar wants to try and do a stream next week with the next 3 months of Epic collections, May, June, and July. So you'll have to hold on for some X titles there. Us X fans are constantly blessed, so I'm not complaining. Yeah, that's okay. It's good. Okay, does anyone want to join my live stream? I'm happy to have people on. I put the link in the chat. So if you would like to come and talk to me about modern era epic collections or what you're looking forward to in these, I'm glad to talk to any of you. Fury Volume 3, not on the schedule yet. We'll have to see. If the sales of the Volume 1 were any indication, they might be waiting another 3 years before we get its Fury 3. But I do want to see that because Nick Fury Volume 3 would have to would actually go past the Marvel Masterworks, which because that line only lasted a few volumes and then it stopped. So if we can get another epic, then we will get past that point, which will be pretty amazing. I don't know if any of that stuff has been restored, and maybe they have to put some work into it. I'm not sure. X Factor, Excalibur, and New Mutants are almost complete, right? Hold on a second. I'm going to mute myself because I got to clear my throat. New Mutants only needs one more volume. You only need volume 4 to complete New Mutants, so we're looking forward to whenever that one comes out. Excalibur needs 5, 6, and 7. They need 3 more volumes for that one. And X Factor still needs volume 2 and volume 5 and 6. And then however many other volumes it takes to get up to Mutant X. I don't know how many that one is. And it's so because I know the next 3 months, I think I'm not gonna comment on anything like this or anything like this because I don't want to give away what could be in the next one or what's not going to be in the next one. So, sorry, people, I'm not gonna. I don't think I can add. I don't want to give away. Omar would be mad at me. I don't want to make Omar mad at me. Okay. I guess people don't want to join my live stream, but that's okay. You people are shy. That's fine. That's fine. Someone asked earlier, what would you like to see in modern era epics? Okay, that's a great idea. Let's talk about that. I I think that I would like to see Spider-Man. Even though Spider-Man's been collected in those huge fat trades, I'm I I wasn't able to finish those. I started collecting those too late, and so I've got like maybe half of them, and I don't have the rest, and they're really expensive now because they're out of print. So I would really like to have those reprinted so I can get my complete run of Spider-Man. Here we go. This is Sam, everybody. Sam
Hey,
is on the team. Hi, Sam.
how you doing?
Um, where are you from? Where do you live?
near Worcester, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, nice. That's great. So tell me, Sam, what are the epic collections that you are looking forward to the most here?
From your announcement today, definitely the Peter David one. It was definitely a question, when they were going to start doing epics for some of those 80s series because that were previously collected in trade paperback. Like with Peter David, you had the visionary stuff that's probably like 10, 20 years old at this point. So, and like the same
Wow.
thing, and yeah.
So yeah, and that I think it was just a matter of time. Everyone had to be patient, and it's kind of nice because they're saving the best for last, kind of.
Mm.
Like how I wonder what people would have said if Marvel had released all of those really popular runs first
Mm.
and left stuff like Daredevil Root of Evil for last. Would people still buy it? I mean, yes, there would be some of them that would want to fill in that hole, but for the most part, I think that people would want to um, they would be more willing to buy the bad stuff before knowing the good stuff is coming later. Kinda.
I'm honestly, I don't know. It's especially with how almost random, certain volumes have been released. It's hard to really imagine how it would have worked out in another hypothetical situation.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, very true. It's all speculation, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
and
bring
the Epic Collection line has really evolved since, its debut, in terms of how many titles they have, how you have, multiple Avengers lines, and now you have the a modern Epic. So it's just like so much, to consider. And really, like we're in unknown territory with the modern Epic stuff, especially, when you have tons of spin-off titles, for given teams of characters.
right. Yeah. Okay, I have Michael on the stream here as well, so I'm gonna bring him on. Hey, Mike, you there?
Hello. Can you hear me? Is that okay?
You're there.
Can you
Yep,
hear me?
yep, you're here. I can hear you just fine.
Hi, guys.
Uh,
Good to see
so
you,
this is
Kurtis.
Sam,
And Sam is hi, Sam. It's nice to meet you
Hey.
virtually.
and Michael, where are you located in the world?
I am in Ireland. I am in the west of Ireland. So for me, it's coming up to 7 o'clock in the evening. My day is my day is over, and the evening is ahead of me. The night time is ahead of me. I'm going to have some food and TV and mull over the epics later on tonight.
Mm.
And what are you looking forward to in these Epic Collection announcements?
Right. I can give you the whole list actually. If I'll do it really quickly if you want to hear it in order, because I did it in order just for my own amusement. I'll
Okay.
say there's 5 of the moderns, right? I didn't have any real interest in the moderns, but I have to say the 2 Daredevils really stand out for me as a Daredevil fan who's buying all the classics. So
Yeah.
Underboss and Out, I think maybe modern epics that I buy, just because it's Daredevil. And then with that as well, it looks like I'm going back on my promise to myself not to spend money on the modern epics because they're so far away from where I'm reading. But I probably Captain America as well, Death of the Dream, just because it's very appealing. They know what they're doing, these people, because it is appealing to to just roll in from the epics to the modern epics. And then if I was getting anything else from those, it would be obviously Black Widow and Spider Gwen at the bottom. See, I don't know those characters. I'm of that generation that has read nothing post the year 2000. In fact, nothing post 1996 almost. My Marvel experience is the 60s, 70s, 80s, and most of the 90s. So the name Spider, it doesn't mean much to me. It won't pull me in, but Daredevil will, and Captain
Yeah.
America will. Looking at the others, then I'm going to start off by saying that I will buy all of these because I collect all the epics, but I'm not a fan, and this is where the hate starts. I'm not a fan of Kirby the writer. So
Mm.
number 11 for me is that The Man Who Sold the United States, because I really dislike that Kirby run on Captain America. But I'll still buy it because I want to have I have it in black and white, but I want to have it in color. I have it in the essentials. Um,
I agree with you about that. Jack Kirby, amazing artist, but when he was given kind of editorial reins on himself,
Mm,
I think that he just kind of he didn't he went too far.
yes,
I'm not a fan of the Fourth World, um, just because of that. It's just such a
yeah,
it's
slog for me.
funny.
Uh,
My first comic that I ever read on Marvel Unlimited when I had the subscription was the first issue of Eternals by Kirby, and it was very hard to get through. And I
yeah,
didn't, read the rest of Eternals because it's just he has like really cool ideas. And
yes,
like something I have with a lot of writers, they have like really cool ideas, but then putting it on paper, it's either in this case it's very dull in execution, or there's like other issues that people have, when they try to actually, write the script.
yeah.
yeah. And I
Okay,
find
I'm gonna bring just 1 second. I'm gonna bring Georgie onto the stream here. Got another person. So hi.
Hey, bro.
So please correct me. Am I pronouncing your name correctly by just saying Georgie?
Yeah, Georgie works technically. It's Georgi, but when it comes to
oh,
English, you just
Georgi.
put it as
Oh,
Georgie.
okay. I will make it. I will make sure that I will say Georgi from now on.
Okay. Where did Michael
So
disappear?
oh, he says his device dropped out, so he'll come back, I'm sure. Where in
Okay.
the world are you?
I'm in the Netherlands right now.
Oh well.
Netherlands. Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Netherlands, Ireland, and Massachusetts.
Yeah, we're going international.
And I'm in Vancouver in Canada. So yeah, we're all over the world. Fantastic.
Yeah.
We're just talking about Kirby. Are you a Kirby fan from Kirby in the 70s?
To be honest, around this time I haven't read that much of Kirby, sorry, but I did read The Demon, which was Etrigan, and I actually
Yeah.
like that one.
That's what
The
I've heard
first
too. I'm sorry.
The first issue was a little bit hard to get through, but afterwards, I did I did like it. But I do understand that a lot of people aren't fan of Kirby's dialogue. But at
Yeah.
least in the
That's what
Demon, it worked with me for the most part, and the cast was good. The only thing that got me a little bit off is because I first got introduced to Etrigan in the Brave and the Bold cartoon, so he used to rhyme. So it's really weird when I got to the actual run and he wasn't rhyming. But other than that, it was pretty enjoyable. Though I think at this point that paperback is pretty much out of print. So if people want to
yeah,
catch up on that, they'll have to wait a little.
that's right. Okay, how do you feel about Frank Robbins' art on Captain America? So Frank Robbins, he Frank Robbins is this is later on in Robbins' career, and Frank Robbins definitely his style evolved and changed to something that was very stylized and a little sloppy. I'm not a huge fan of Frank Robbins. You got to go way back to his days on the newspaper comic strip Johnny Hazard. Frank Robbins was an incredible artist back then, really, really great. But by the time the 70s went around, he had kind of moved past his prime. I was also not a fan of Robbins when he did Invaders as well. Here's a question for you, Georgi. Is it a Romanian name?
No, it's a Bulgarian one. So close,
Bulgarian. There you go.
so
Okay,
close.
cool. Yeah. Okay. So tell me, Georgi, what are your top picks for Epic Collections in this announcement? What are you going to get?
Uh,
What's at the top of
for
your list?
the top one is actually Captain America Volume 6 because I just
This
started.
one right here.
Yeah,
Whoops.
I
There you go.
almost I
Whoops.
finished
Lost it.
Volume 1 and started Volume 2, which is actually Lee's writing the dialogue while Kirby is drawing it, and it's been pretty fun. So I've mostly started reading past Cap at this point and almost all Silver Age Marvel. Other than that, I'm also excited for Luke Cage Volume 2, uh, Black Widow, the modern epic, because some of these trade paperbacks, at least around my area, are pretty hard to find.
Ah,
So this is really good. But if I have to recommend to someone anything out of all the list, I would go with the modern epic of Cap from Brubaker, because I mentioned it in the previous stream that Death of Captain America, which is half of this epic, is my favorite Cap story of all time, actually. And
Oh,
actually grew around the time when Bucky was Captain America, so I actually was used to him being Captain America. Unlike a lot of people when they argue whether it's Steve or Sam, actually my Cap was Bucky, and it's still my favorite Cap to this point.
Mm,
okay. Sam, what are you looking forward to in a modern era epic collection? What would you want to have collected in the modern era?
easy. So She-Hulk by Dan Slott. The complete collections are very hard to find, especially Volume 2. So I would love to see that collected. And yeah, and it's also very not obscure but not as well known. The new X-Men by Yost and Kyle, I think. Those are very hard to
That was after
Right, yeah.
Morrison left, right?
find. Sorry, what?
Was that after Morrison left?
Yeah, it was after Morrison, and I think it was more around like the next generation of mutants, like the New Mutants, and it had like was like Academy X. It had the
The
Quest.
Quest for Magic, I think, was also
Yeah,
there.
Childhood's End, all of that. Like those are very hard to find.
Okay, I've got another person on the stream here that it's going to come on in just a second.
Yeah,
This
I-
is James. Hi, James.
Hey,
Where are you from?
hello everyone. I'm from Brazil.
Brazil.
Uh,
Holy cow.
yeah, yes.
So many different continents. I
Going
love
more
this. Isn't that
international by the minute.
I think you'll
amazing?
find out, Curtis, that your little corner of the internet is very popular internationally. You know, I know a couple of other guys from Brazil that follow you on Instagram, follow you on here on YouTube. Um,
I love it.
it's
I
a
love it.
it's a great community. You know.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So tell me, James, what from this list are you looking forward to?
Okay, I didn't get the whole list because I entered. You had already started the live stream, but I'm
Okay.
really excited that the Black Widow is going to be collected because I really like that series. From this list in particular, the second volume of Aliens is one that I'm looking forward to. I still didn't get the first volume, but I'm waiting for it. It takes a while to arrive here.
Yeah.
Spider
Likewise,
Gwen is a title I really like. I'm still debating whether or not to get the first volume of the epic because I have it on other formats already. But
Oh, right.
it would look really nice on the shelf with the other epics, and it's a really great series. So Spider Gwen is a contender.
What
Um,
format do you have it in already?
oh, that I have in floppies in the Brazilian reprints, and I have
Okay.
those couple of smaller size graphic novels for younger readers that Marvel published. I
Uh,
don't know the name of that line, but they've published Spider Gwen and Miles Morales, and they've
yeah,
right, the
published
graphic
Spider-Verse
novels,
ones,
yeah.
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 So my
Iron Heart as well and Squirrel Girl in that format.
plug for this epic collection is that it includes the entire Spider-Women storyline, which was a crossover between
Yes,
Spider-Woman and
yes,
Silk. It's all in here. They skip
yes,
over this in the skinny trades. It is in
yes.
the omnibus, but I would recommend if you have just the singles or the skinny
That,
trades
that,
to pick up this one.
Mm.
that's a big selling point, you know.
Yeah, I actually reading through this, I liked that crossover more than the regular issues. I thought it was really great, a lot of fun.
Oh, the epic format
Spider,
is such a nice way of getting those stories, you know, because it's relatively affordable, and there's always a huge chunk of stories in each volume. So yeah,
By the
that
way,
Spider Gwen is looking really attractive right now.
Okay, here's a good question for us here. With Marvel printing more modern epics and reprints, do you think they'll slow down on the new volumes of the classic lines?
Um,
As it seems now, like so in these first 4 months of the year, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 modern era epic collections, and 12, 13, 14, 15 classics. So it doesn't look like they're slowing down.
I mean,
It
maybe
looks like
as they finish up certain titles, you know, I'm trying to remember because I know like Amazing Spider-Man, like a lot of that, you know, has been printed at this point. I know, and certain gaps, as you and Omar noted, like are being filled. So maybe because like those certain titles will be finished, and maybe yeah. Though I also know there's like people still want Spectacular Spider-Man to be in the epic format.
I was
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say about that, given that, for example, Daredevil, I think only now has the 3 epics that are the gaps, which are Miller O'Neill, and my guess is Marvel will. Usually there used to be an Silver Age volume and then an older 80s 90s volume, but now those are just those 3 left. My guess is Marvel will just release one per year, and for the
Yeah,
older
probably.
Daredevil, they will either
Yeah.
replace it with something else or they will just give a gap for a modern epic.
Yeah, once these lines, I think that's partly also why we aren't seeing new long lines like Spectacular Spider-Man and Marvel Team Up and Alpha Flight. Marvel may want to be keeping those long lines for when these long lines finish, which is
Yeah.
not too far away. So when Captain America's done, we can swap it out with Marvel Team Up. So they have another, 10 volume or more series to go. And they'll
Yeah,
keep the
that makes sense.
longevity of the line that way.
There any lines you would like to see Marvel begin, you know, in addition to something like Spectacular Spider-Man?
To begin,
Alpha Flight
yes,
would be great.
Alpha
Alpha
Flight.
Flight would be great. I would like Captain Marvel, because Captain Marvel and Nick Fury, Agent of Shield, those ones are the ones that are the remaining of like the very beginning of Marvel. So I would like to see those ones come at some point.
For Captain Marvel, if anyone wants to get a feel of how the stories are, there's Mighty Marvel Masterworks actually with the first few
Yes,
issues.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
to
Yep.
try
And
that first. These
I
are the
think the
pre-Starlin issues, I think. Not all of
right.
them, but
Those,
some of them.
Yeah, and it was in the old. I have the 2 essential volumes, so the essential one picks up right from the start, like long before starting. You get it right from the very, very beginning of the first appearance of the character.
I think Alpha Flight would be a really good choice because it's unlikely they would start with the burn years because they've already been collected. So we very probably would get the later years of
Yes, I
that have
have.
never been
Yep.
collected before, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I love Mantlo as a writer, and I love the burn. You're absolutely right. I never even gave it that degree of thought, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, they would probably start with those non-previously collected.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's some really sweet early Mike Mignola art in there as
Mhm.
well, right? Jim
I'd
Lee
like to
art.
say
Jim Lee started on Alpha Flight, right? At Marvel.
right.
You know, what would be really
Um,
cool because it hasn't been collected before is a lot of the Fool Killer stuff.
Fool Killer. Oh man, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Totally forgot about that
So,
guy.
like, stuff from the 90s is not collected at all.
It's a good read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Uncle Johnny has joined the stream here. Johnny, where are you from?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yeah.
can hear you.
Yep.
Excellent. Because I'm on mobile, so I wasn't sure. I'm from Mexico, northern Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Wow, I can't believe that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people on the stream, and we are all in different countries.
I
Isn't that
know. I
awesome?
mean,
What a
love it.
small world.
Right?
Marvel Comics bringing peace to the world.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny, tell me what are you looking forward to in this round of announcements here?
Oh, definitely FF. I started reading Fantastic Four with the Falco, and it's one of my favorite runs, and I want to see it complete.
Where did that one go here? I have the picture. Where did it go?
I mean, I love
There it is.
I love the way the Falco writes. I love his FF, his Thor, Thunderstrike, Spider Girl. Spider Man was
Oh,
okay-ish,
Spider Girl. Oh my God. Yes. Yes. It's
He's a
just
But
fun
one
writer. He's
shy
fun.
of completing that series. Oh my God.
the Falco was awesome. I mean, I remember they used to call his style of writing hoo-ha comics or something like that. They're just awesome and action-packed.
What I liked about DeFalco is that he actually mastered the ongoing story writing, the writing for trade style, where it would be long drawn out stories, but then also keeping a self-contained story in each issue. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
like you could jump in and enjoy a single issue, but if you read the whole thing, major payoff.
I'm reading his Thor now in Epics for the first time, and it's really fun, and it's like a real throwback, and it's nice contrast to Simonson before. It's a really good contrast,
Yeah.
and it works really well, and I'm thoroughly enjoying them. And this is my first time to read them.
I think a lot of people, just because of the popularity of Simonson, uh, and a lot of the of both Simonsons run on Fantastic Four and on Thor. Following
Yeah,
that, people were like, "This isn't as good as what came before."
yeah, yeah.
But time
It's unfair criticism.
softened that.
Yeah, yeah,
it's
completely
different. It's
different.
different, and it's amazing.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so I actually need to. I think we're just gonna do about 10 more minutes. I need to wrap this up because I have other work that I need to get on with my day. But I'm very glad that all of you were able to join again. Let's see. Sam from the United States, Jorge from the Netherlands, James from Brazil,
Yes.
Michael or Riker from Ireland, Johnny from Mexico, and I'm in Canada. And I love that the fact that we are all in different countries. I think that is so cool. And
Class.
we are
Yeah.
all Epic Collection fans. Very nice. Um, let's see. The last thing I want to say here is that the modern era Epic Collections are we since I've seen the next few months, we're going to get a lot more clarification on where some of these lines are going to go, and where the classic lines are going to go as well. So I'm really excited to. I hope that next week, when we can do our next stream next week, that we'll have an after party for that one as well. And there are some big surprises, and I think stuff that people are going to be happy about, some stuff that people are not expecting, and yeah, it's going to be all around good on the classic side and on the modern side. I think we're going to be happy with the next 3 months. Yeah.
One thing I did notice about the modern epics, or at least their release schedule so far, it seems that they're a lot more focused on getting like a single writer's run pretty close to each other. Like the two Lokis by Gillen got released, I think, a week apart. So it's like the Remender stuff and Bar of Buns. And the
Yep.
same thing now with Daredevil, like 2/3 of it is already in the like 2 months apart from each other, like with volume 2 and volume 3.
Yeah.
And
So I'm curious if this is gonna be at least a pattern for the more shorter runs, at least within the writer's span.
right. And they're like picking some of the more popular runs and some of the more out of print stuff to start with, like, you know, Bendis with Daredevil, Brubaker.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
Gillen stuff from Loki, the Journey by Mystery, the first one has been pretty out of print for a while,
Right.
and then they announced the epics, and people suddenly starting to get rid of their completes. So if people want to jump on that, it cannot wait.
If
So
I,
at least that gives them an option.
because I
Same
really,
thing with
Yep.
the Venom stuff by Remender. Like these things felt like they didn't exist at all, like they were just a myth, and now they started pop up because people wanted to upgrade to epics.
yeah, I really
Look at the speculators.
something incomplete. I'm gonna, because I just really like the unique designs of the different completes. And so like I already have like Daredevil and like the Captain America stuff, so I'm gonna keep it. Like I don't need the epics for it. But if like there's like something that's like really out of print, like the Venom stuff, then sure I might look into getting those epics.
Yeah. For the
What's going to
cap
be the
stuff,
hardest selling point for the modern era Epic collections is that it's basically rebranding previously made material. With the
Right.
classic era Epic collections, so much of that content had never been reprinted before. It was the only option,
Right.
other than Omnibus or Masterworks.
Yeah.
So the modern era Epic collections definitely have a tougher road ahead of them in trying to sell their copies,
Yeah.
Wow.
except for the fact that the stuff goes out of print.
And then
for the cap modern stuff,
is-
I would say that, for example, the first volume that will release will have issue 10, which wasn't collected in the Ultimates because it was a House
Right.
of M tie-in.
That's
And the
right. Yep.
Ultimates were just following Brubaker's stuff. And the Ultimate collections did stop after Death of Captain America, and
Mhm.
most of it later hasn't been collected outside of those premium hardcovers and the standard trade paperbacks. So
And I
if
think that's a
people want to
great
upgrade,
marketing
that's definitely a
that's a
thing
great
to
marketing
do.
move on their point is not branding it by creator. And the same thing with the Venom by Remender. The Agent Venom Epic collection that's coming out is going to have the first appearance of Flash as Venom because, and it wasn't included in the Remender stuff because it wasn't written by Remender. It was
Yeah.
written by Dan Slott.
And half of the run in the Volume 4, I think it was actually part of Bun's run, and
Yeah,
Minimum
exactly.
Carnage Alpha was his, along with then the first arc, Devil. I think it was called Devil's Pack. I cannot remember at the top of my head, but that was written by Bun. It wasn't by Remender, which made it hard a little bit for me whether I should switch because I have the two completes from Remender, but I don't have the epic. But but the complete from Bun is out of print, so I will either wait or I will have to upgrade,
Yes,
because
someone
otherwise I have this
I actually
double dip thingy.
sell the Bun complete collection for $300, and they
Oh,
$300?
yeah,
and like clearly they
it's insane.
cut it down, but even then it's too expensive.
Yeah,
Though I will say, I think there is something to say with some of the creator, specific complete collections. If you're interested in a specific run, and you
Yep.
don't like, I know like during Omar's stream, someone was complaining about how you have like different mini series or whatever, packed in there with like the rest of like the main title, and I think I can understand that because if if you're looking just to read that run, it kind of like interrupts that flow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And also
it's true.
of the packaging, like the dressings for the complete collections because they have unique designs, and so it makes it stand out for the different creators and characters.
I think it also, yeah, and it also depends what you want from them, because if some people want specific titles, they're not fine with that. But for Wolverine, for example, he also had a Marvel Comics Present mini. He was also part of there, and some
Yes.
people have complained that the Wolverine epics just have the Wolverine title and not
Yep.
the Marvel Comics Presents. So
And that's
Right.
you can't
gotta be
please everybody at the end of the
yeah,
day, it
yeah.
seems so, because
That's gotta
everybody
be
expects
corrected at
different
some
stuff.
point. I mean, it's gotta show up as a trade or as something because there's so much of it and people will buy it.
I don't know if you
Okay,
guys. Oh, sorry, Curtis.
so go ahead, James. Yeah, go ahead.
No, because the Georgie has said, it reminded me of some of the DC Comics collections for Batman and Justice League where they would put out like Batman by Alan Davis or just the Justice League by George Perez, and then they would cut the story where that particular author didn't work. So in the Alan Davis Batman collection, there's part of that is Batman Year 2, but Davis didn't draw everything in Batman Year 2. There's some Todd McFarlane there as well, and that part isn't there. So the story is incomplete.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or the Justice League
Yeah.
by George Perez. There are some issues where he just did the covers. So there's a couple of stories that he drew. Then the covers for the following issues, but no stories. That is really
Oh, boy.
weird.
Yeah.
There was also a debate about the Miller stuff, that whether it should include the Ditko issue that's kind of in the middle at one point. and some people thought it should be included, for example, in the Omni. Some people said it shouldn't because it's not written by Miller, but it is like in between, and it's just one issue. And I think eventually in one of the editions they put it like at the end, and then they put Daredevil by Miller, and then this issue. Hey, it has nothing to do with it, but it's part of the numbering, so here you go.
Yeah. Okay. Uncle Johnny, you haven't had a chance to say anything because you joined us a little bit later. Is there anything you want to say?
Well, I hope that the classic Epic collections continue after they get completed. That's something I've been thinking for a while. It's okay, once FF it's complete, are they going to start publishing Marvel 2-in-1 with more frequency, or what are they going to use to replace the Avengers line? Are they going to put other titles that they haven't touched yet? I mean, something I'm very interested. It's Nick Fury of Shield.
Yeah.
That stuff hasn't been printed in a while, and there's no Epic collection as far as I know.
No,
and
there
it's
isn't.
something
And
I
in
really
fact,
want. Oh, sorry.
the omnibus is the only place you can get a lot of those issues after the Steranko stuff. So it's ripe for Epic collections for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's
And
one thing. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, and that's probably the fear most of us have when the modern epics started. It's like, oh man, they're going to replace the old ones, and maybe they're not going to get complete, or they're going to start ignoring lesser popular stuff. But I hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious, like how many lines there are eventually going to be of the modern era epics, because there's so many different, spin-off titles, team-up titles. Like you've got Spider-Man and Deadpool, and like with even Avengers, because right now we're having new Avengers, and during the whole Bendis era, you've got Mighty Avengers, Avengers: The Initiative, Dark Avengers, Secret Avengers, just Avengers,
Mighty Avengers.
Oh yeah, and the initiative. It was renamed constantly, right?
Yeah,
It was Arena at one point.
it was Avengers Academy.
Yeah,
Avengers
Academy.
yeah.
Right.
The Dark Avengers is a pretty curious thing because at one point it was Dark Avengers by Bendis, which is announced. Then it got the Thunderbolts legacy numbering at one point, so it suddenly from Dark Avengers 15 it went to Dark Avengers 181 or something, which was like, it's pretty curious because if they also make a Thunderbolts line, so how is this gonna work?
Yeah,
I would have preferred if they had called it a Thunderbolts Modern Era Collection and the title was Dark Avengers. Like if it's part of the Thunderbolts Legacy numbering, then let's keep it as a Thunderbolts title.
Yeah, I'm curious.
There's also
like Jonathan Hickman's, Avengers, like because obviously New Avengers and Avengers are intertwined. In one, you can't really separate those.
Same way you cannot separate Infinity from it.
Oh yeah.
And I think Infinity will be there.
Yeah, speaking of Infinity, it's I would love to see Thanos Epic Collection.
Thanos? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of cool too. I think out of all of the villains, he probably would be the most likely to get an
especially
Epic line.
he got a lot of graphic novels by Jim Starlin publicated a few years ago.
Get that,
which,
I know
which outside of Omnibus and the hardcovers themselves, I don't think it has been collected as a collection. So there's that.
Right.
Yeah, I also would love to see format.
Sorry, last comment. What was that, Sam?
Well, I was just saying I would love to see events in the Epic format.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they'll have to figure out how they want to tackle that kind of stuff. For in the Infinity, I think it would all fit together well in a Warlock Epic collection. But there's other stuff other than that. But anyway, I need to run. So I want to thank everybody in the chat.
Yep.
Thank you for joining this stream. Everybody here live, I think this is great. And I will be back. We'll do another after party after the next round of announcements, which may very well be next month.
Is
But
there gonna be
thank
for the reprints or just the new stuff?
before the reprints, Marvel hasn't sent us the list of reprints yet, so I don't know
Okay.
when that's coming. They haven't worked on that yet. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining, and we will have to see you
Take care,
in the
everyone.
next time.
Yeah.
Yep.
You
Bye.
Thank you.
Yep.
enjoy the
Bye.
rest-
Thank you for inviting us, Kurtis.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Fun.